In this video, we're going to take a look at the database manager, the database tool that we're going to use in order to open our database, to check the data, to see what do we have in the DB, to see if our Spring Boot application is connecting and adding the data there. So in all, in order to manage the DB. Now for PostgreSQL, I'm going to be using the DBeaver community database manager tool. Now you can use some other one if you're more familiar with, like there is a pgadmin usually used for PostgreSQL, but I do like to use DBeaver. DBeaver allows us also to connect to multiple databases, so not just to PostgreSQL, and it's an all-in-all nicely packaged tool where we can manage the DB. Now in order to download and install DBeaver, you need to go to the dbeaver.io URL, and here you have a download link for the community open source version of DBeaver, where you can download it and install it on your machine. So depending on your operating system, you have different types of installers. Here you basically choose the one for your operating system, and you can just install it on your machine. Now after you've installed it, you're gonna get presented with a UI that looks something like this. As you can see, that's where the connections are going to be. And in this case, because we just started the DB previously, so I previously started a PostgreSQL DB locally running in WSL here on port 5432. Let's try to connect to that DB from DBeaver. So in order to do that, what we have to do is click this plus here. And then, as you can see, DBeaver supports quite a lot of databases, but in this case we're going to be using PostgreSQL, so I just click PostgreSQL, I click next, and now here, as you can see, already some things are pre-specified. So as you can see, the host is localhost, that's correct. The PostgreSQL is running on localhost. The port is 5432, so that's correct. The database is going to be the default one, is going to be Postgres, that's what we're going to use. The username is Postgres, but the password also needs to be specified, and that's also Postgres in our case. So now what I'm going to do, now I'm going to click test connection, and as you can see, it says connection test connected, so it's successfully connected to the DB, and we can click OK. And now I can just click finish. And now, because I currently have the PostgreSQL driver downloaded, you might get asked, if you're opening it for the first time, you might get asked to download the driver. But in this case, it doesn't show that because I already have the driver downloaded for the PostgreSQL DB. But so in this case, it doesn't show up. So I did the test connection, it was successful, and I can click finish. Now it's going to show up as a connection right over here. And if I just open this, expand this, as you can see, if I go to the databases, there is in fact a database here. The name is Postgres. And if you go to schemas, there should be a public schema. And if we go to tables right now, we really shouldn't see any tables because we really have an empty database started with Docker. And we are in the next steps, we're going to be connecting to this database with our Spring Boot application, and we are going to be creating some tables. So that's going to be it for the next videos, but this was just to kind of show how can we use DBeaver and how can we use DBeaver to connect to our DB that's currently running locally on our machine. So that's going to be it for this video.